Okay, everyone. I have James, my programmer here. He's keeping an eye out to see who's here, and he will try to answer questions because, it'll distract me if I look over at the messages. So James programmed all this stuff for me anyway, so he knows it all like the back of his hand, obviously. Anyway, so not sure how many of you attended the quick webinar I did in Robin's trading room. Possibly a few of you, and possibly a few of you here might not even have the indicator or anything else. You're just curious about it. And we might also have a few people here who aren't even really members because I sent out the link to some of our free lists since the webinar didn't fill up. So again, what I'm going to do today is I'm going to go over the BPT MA Deluxe indicator, which you see right here on the daily S&P 500. As you know, I've been showing it quite a bit on the website all this year. It's been a very good trend following indicator. But what I've found is that a lot of you don't seem to understand a lot of the settings, understand exactly what's happening. And so that's what I want to go over. I want to show you what it is, dispel any myths about it. I'm going to break it down into its basic components. Then we're going to, I'm going to show you what the settings do. And you'll understand so that when you play around with it on your end, if you have the indicator on your computer, your TradeStation or NinjaTrader, that you'll understand what you're doing with it. Okay, it's not the holy grail. It's not what it is. It's not a mechanical system. It's best to use in conjunction with other indicators, other analysis, etc. Even though it's been pretty good, obviously, even if you just followed it on its own. But still, it's best to use it as a useful tool, not a system by itself. Okay, so again, this is the S&P 500 daily chart. This is TradeStation, and so again, you can see that it's been pretty good about following trend. Doesn't pick bottoms exactly. It's not going to pick the tops. It's still at the very end. It's a moving average. Okay, so all moving averages do lag somewhat. They all have their advantages and of course their disadvantages. But we've made some exotic modifications to it, and the moving average type we have here you won't find anywhere else. Everyone and their brother's done moving averages. You can go to Big Mike's forum, you can go to all these other websites, find moving averages galore. You won't find one like this, at least I don't think so. So that's the benefit. Again, as a member of Breakpoint Trades, you are able to get this indicator for free if you have TradeStation or NinjaTrader. And so before we get into that, because some people don't understand how to download it, so let's say we're logged into the website. I have a free trial account. I made Ben Bernanke a free trial account for fun. He expires in 208 days. So I should correlate that when he leaves office, honestly, just for fun. But anyway, so you're on the website. You go to the free indicators section. You have the BPT MA Deluxe here. There's a couple other indicators here at the top. We plan to add more over time, obviously. And for TradeStation, there's an ELD file here, which you download. And there's two pre-formatted workspaces for TradeStation, where I have probably, maybe 10 or 15 chart examples already pre-formatted for you. There's also a NinjaTrader right here. I don't have any workspaces for it here, though. So you have to make those on your own. So again, to download it though, depending on your Windows, don't left click on it like you do a normal link. You left click. This is Internet Explorer, so you left click and you're going to hit Save Target As. If you're in Chrome, I think it's Save File As or something. It's going to be slightly different, but you have to right click, not left click, and you save it to your computer, and then you find the place where you saved it, and then you upload them to TradeStation or Ninja. So you can't left click on them. I know folks try to do that. Again, it's just a standard computer function. It has nothing to do with our website or the files. It's just standard computer procedure. Okay. There's some examples on here. There's a little bit of actually. This is a free trial, so Ben Bernanke can't download it. So let me bring mine. So So free trial members aren't allowed to download this, obviously. You have to be a member, obviously. You know, you should at least be a member to downloading this indicator. Obviously, I think that's the least we can ask. So if you're a member, you know, you can download the file, and there's some other things here. If you look at the bottom, you can read some things about the indicator. And again, I'll talk about those in the webinar. Okay. The webinar, and again, this is a free indicator, and I think that's pretty good because, you know, if you go to some other sites, I hate to name names, but Trading Markets is one of them. They have a squeeze indicator. I think they charge $500 for it. You know, BP or a squeeze indicator. You know, you can find that for free on the internet, and I'll give it to you if you want to. You know, so we're giving this indicator for free. You know that some place would probably charge $1,000 for it, so we're giving it to you for free. But you got to have a membership, and I don't think that's much to ask. Okay, so let's get started here. So again, this is the daily S&P. Again, it's been pretty good about catching the trends. You can see it went green here on November 23rd. Went red here on May 31st. Caught about 220 points there. Made some points gains here on the side. It's been a little choppy here lately. If you took this and this, you would have lost about 10, 11 points. This should have made a little points, and so far the red here, where it went on 927, is doing okay. But let's go back to the basics on the indicator. What is it? So here's the indicator without all the settings turned on. So this is another daily S&P 500 chart with these two moving averages, and these two moving averages are the 20 and 50-day moving averages. So it's the same indicator, the BPT Deluxe. So I simply took all the settings off and I made it a 20, 50-day moving average, or I could make it a, you know, 50, 200-day moving average. The reason why this is important is because you can use this indicator to replace your other moving averages. Okay. Again, everyone's used to seeing it as one color, you know, a green or red or one moving average, but really it's two moving averages. Okay. And you can, if you take out all the settings, you basically distill it down to its primary, which is just moving average set. So when we look at the settings here, let's convert it over to make it look like this. Okay. So we go into here, and one thing that TradeStation does that I think is rather annoying is their windows here for their settings, you can't expand them. I think we have a TradeStation representative on the phone, Bruce. Bruce, if you can ever talk to your programmers there, it'd be just so nice if you could click on the corner here and drag it and make the window larger, because you have to expand. You know, other programmers do this, so which ours did that as well, TradeStation. Anyway, so as you see, there's two moving average sets, MA1 type, and there's MA2 type. So I'm going to turn off the MA2 type. See, it says use MA2. So we say false. Boom. So the other moving average is gone. Now we're left with simply the 50-day simple moving average, or 20-day, or whatever you want to make it. Okay. And whatever color you want to make it. If you look here, moving average type. So notice when you put your mouse over here, and again, for those of you, some of this may look small. I probably should have mentioned this in the beginning of the webinar, but I'm on a fairly high resolution monitor. I have a 30-inch monitor here with a resolution of 2560 by 1600. So if you're on a small monitor with low resolution, things may look tiny. Now, if that's the case, you could play around with your GoToMeeting. You can zoom in, stuff like that, okay? And so you can zoom into areas here so you can see this a little better, all right? Unfortunately, I don't have a smaller monitor. I wish I did, you know, a lower resolution monitor, so things maybe wouldn't appear so tiny for you guys. But again, you can zoom into it. You can zoom into it, or you could say view actual size. You're not going to be able to see the whole monitor, but you'll be able to see and read it better, okay? So you guys can mess around with that. Let's see here. So anyway, so if you put your mouse over here, there's basically 8 moving average types. Number 1 is simple, 2 is exponential, 3 is weighted, 4 is triangular, 5 is adaptive, which is interesting. Adaptive means it actually tries to adapt to current conditions, almost like an ATR. 6 is whole weighted moving average. You know what, most of you know what a whole moving average is. It's kind of like a Jurek. It's a fast type moving average. Then there's a whole exponential, which basically applies an exponential moving average to the hole. And then there's number 8, which is 8 hole modified. So it's basically hole modified exponential. So it's basically the that whole exponential moving average, and we done something special to it. So we made it even faster. So okay, so that's what that does. And it's a very fast moving average. So we're just going to, again, I would like you guys to play around with all the moving averages. Okay, I've been using the number 8 moving average in a 34 length. Let's go ahead and turn it to there. But I suggest that you guys go ahead and play around with all the settings, because who knows what's optimal or what's optimal for you. So I'm going to make it an 8 moving average and a 34 length, which is a fib number conveniently. And then there's a thing here that says disable color. So if we make that false, what that does is it makes, and let me change the width of this, the style here, make it a little thicker. Okay, boom. So what it does is, it basically, you can see how the indicator is green and red. What it does is, when the slope is down, it's red. When the slope is up, it's green. So very simple. Now you can see that I have the indicator right, the moving average right on the price. We could either leave it there or we could move it off of the price. So maybe I'll just do that. Make it number 2, perhaps. Oh. So, and so you can see, here's the number 8 moving average without anything on it. And so you could, again, it's green whenever it's the upsloping, red whenever it's downsloping, and you can see these little areas where it's turning red or it's kind of choppy, right? So all these inputs we have here. We have, let's see here. So if you look here, let's just go and look at all this. Gapless, don't worry about gapless. We have an error here, so let's leave this false. Flat means it's kind of really what you think it would mean. So if you make this true, what it does is it basically converts it down into a flat line. Why would that be useful? Well, let's say, if in TradeStation or whatever, if you had too many indicators, it starts flattening out your price. So it enables you to, if you only care about the color, it enables you to have a bunch of other indicators and have it not take up much room, if you don't care about displaying the slope. So that's what that does. Generally, we don't display it like that, but let's go ahead and move it back. Cool. All right, so now, well, let me get off this. So you can see, if you can see right here, let me zoom in here a little bit. So you can see again, it's not as clean right now as this one. Zoom in here. You can see this one is catching this whole trend from November to late May, just really solid, nice cream. Same with this, same with this. Whereas this one is not. It's just, it's choppy. So let's play around with the settings. First off, this, you can see right here it's green, and you can see where it turns red here. Well, TradeStation, if you hold your mouse down, if you look at the data window, if you look at the plot, it says 1427.37. If you move it to where it turns red, 1426.97. So you can see basically it's taken about 0.4, a slope of 0.4, it changed there. Okay, so why is that information useful? Well, if you look at this, you can see it says use moving average smoothing. So if you turn this to true, what this means is this is a hard value you could set. Let's say you said 0.5. That means the slope would have to change greater than or equal to 0.5 for the color to change. And you can see now that goes away. Okay, so it's just it's just basically you could put any number you want. So you could make it 2. There's times whenever you want to use a hard number like that. Okay. Now for the daily, for the S&P daily chart, I haven't been doing that. I've been using the Whipsaw function here. Okay. So the Whipsaw function, what it does is it looks for a confirmation candle. So, for example, let's go back here and let's look at. Let me make this taller. Let's zoom in a little bit. Okay, so slope is going up, and you can see it turns red here. Well, by confirmation, You can see I put a vertical line in here. And remember, I've talked about the BPT Whipsaw method. Well, the BPT Whipsaw method is quite simple. You're basically looking for an area where the slope would change. You need a candlestick that would take the low of that out to confirm. Well, you can see it doesn't happen. The low of this candle, that's it. And then price goes back up, slope turns back green. So you'd have filtered that out. Here is one. Let's see. A couple of these here. Here. Blah, blah, blah. So do a few of these. So hard to draw these lines. Okay, so here, sorry about that. Copy. Come on. Thought I could copy that. Maybe not. Okay, so you can see here it changed, but then basically this candle here, the next candle would have, or this candle would have confirmed it, okay, obviously, because it closed below there. These candles, just using this one, you can see where it turned green, the height of this tail, it would never confirmed. So a confirmation would have turned that one off. It would have turned this one off because you can see the height of this tail. So basically what that whipsaw does is it does this for you. So instead of you having to do it manually, it does this. So let's turn it on. Boom, and you'll see those go away. Except this one remains, remember, because this one confirmed on this candle. So that basically does that confirmation candle for you. Okay. And remember, I use this whipsaw confirmation method with a lot of different things. Not just this moving average, but you can do this with anything. You could do it with MACD crosses. You could do it with stochastics going above or below, 80% or 20% or whatever. It works for anything. It's a very good method. So you can see the whipsaw makes it a lot better. Not perfect. You got some of these little things here, but it's a lot smoother. Okay. So now there's another whipsaw in here, though. As you look, use whipsaw. There's another secondary whipsaw. So what this does is you'll see this governs these two. So there's one here which uses a hard number, like whether you want to put a point, again, a hard number or a value. This one uses a percentage. So for the daily S&P chart on TradeStation, I've been using 0.1. It's 0.1%. What that means is it's requiring the whipsaw confirmation, but then an extra 0.1% confirmed. So why is that important? Well, let's say you have a daily candle on the S&P and your moving average turned the slope at 1600. Well, then your next candle confirmed it at 1601. Do you really care about 1 point? You know what I mean? So I say add I don't care if it just barely confirms. I want to have it at least confirmed by, 0.1% or something. And so that's what that does. And so now that 0.1% just smooths it out all the way, as you can see. So, and then again, it's not perfect, but it's pretty good, as you can see. Catching many nice trends, especially this year. This year has been pretty awesome. Since we've had such a trending move this year from November to May, and then, we've had all these big moves. So let me zoom in a little bit. Okay. So that's some settings. I hope that explains really what this is. It's not rocket science. It's just some logical thought put into, a very fast moving average. Hey, what would make it better? And that's what I've done here. Okay. So you can see it's not a system, but it's just a logical progression of things using the BPT whipsaw method, which adding a little extra buffer to it. You have the moving average types here, stuff like that. The other thing you could do is this. So as I've stated before, let me add a, first off, let me add an indicator here. Insert analysis techniques. Let's add RSI. Okay. So, one thing I've noticed, again, I've always tell you guys that, hey, don't just follow this blindly whenever it turns green or red, even though many times it does well. Okay. When it first turns green or red, a lot of times, just like a moving average, and especially since you're requiring confirmation, things are going to be overbought, oversold quite a bit. Okay. And so you can a lot of times get a better price if you wait. Not always, but a lot of times. I mean, if you come off a very oversold condition, the reason why I added the RSI here is because the 14 RSI rarely gets oversold on a daily chart. So, back here in November, once it turned green, you didn't get much of a pullback. You got a little bit. You could see, I mean, if you waited, you got, over the next 2 days, you got a little pullback, but you didn't get that much. Okay. But otherwise, you can generally get a better, entry. You can see it turned red back here on October 12th. S&P was 1428.59, let's call it 1429. But then look what happened. It went as high as 1457. That's 25 points or so. So you could have shorted 25 points higher. Well, so by waiting a few days, look what happened. I have a 5 stochastics on here. It got overbought. So that's why I'm stating, you can, a lot of times when it first changes, you'll get better prices if you wait. If you're not coming out of an extreme oversold condition or something. Even back here, it turned here. It went lower, and then you rallied back up. And I think this retracement here was 50% of this whole decline, and stuff like that. So you'll see a lot of stuff like that that I recommend looking at. Let's see here. I think this is 34. Yeah. Like here's a good example back here in 2011. When we were on a similar debt ceiling crisis and the S&P, was it S&P who downgraded the U.S. debt? I don't remember, but you can see it went red here on 7/18/2011 at 1305. Price moved all the way up to 1345. So you got 40 points higher you could have shorted instead of doing it here. Stochastics got overbought. So that's why I'm stating look at stuff like that. Now, that brings me into another point. I've built something into here that allows you to do it. You can either do it manually, like I said, use other indicators. You can see I have a 5 stochastics on here. Let's say I use a, I don't know, 4 RSI or something. So if you look down in here, I have these extra things set in the moving average. It says display stochastic, right? So let's say turn that to true. And let's see here. I am not sure why that is not changing here. Might be a bug in there. Let's turn on the RSI. RSI 4. So you can see what's happening on here. So basically, I'm saying what that's, you can see it's adding these little blue areas in there. So what that's doing is it's saying, okay, it's just saying literally the 4 RSI is oversold on the daily. You can do that with the stochastics too. You can make it any length you want. Why is that interesting? Well, that's an oversold area, and the indicator still is green. So that could be a low risk entry for a long, and it was. Same with these, perhaps. Again, you can just you can use the stochastics or RSI, or you can use them both. Now here's the 3 RSI. You can see it got overbought here. and it turned red here, or green, turned blue here, and that was a low risk short entry, obviously. Again, you can do this on your own, but we tried to build it into the indicator too. But that's all it is. It's literally nothing mystical. It's just we've programmed the stochastics and our RSI in here that you can turn to true or false. Okay. Let's turn, and you can change the color on them, blue or red. So let me turn that off. And again, guys, here's another thing you might want to check out. So obviously the 8 type of moving average looks pretty good, right? But, you know, with these settings, again, who knows if the 8 and 34 is best? I don't know. That's why I suggest messing around with it. Hell, let's make it a simple moving average and a 20-day simple moving average with these whipsaws turned on. Let's see what we get. Still not too bad. Let's make it a little less. Let's go 15. So there's a simple 50-day moving average, or a 15-day simple moving average, and you can see it's not perfect. But you know what? It's not bad. It's still catching quite long trends. Let's go down to an 11. Just kind of playing around with settings here. So it's going to be a little faster. Because you can see those whipsaw factors can even make a very, a fast moving average, such as a 10-day simple moving average, trend pretty good. Look at that. That's just a 10-day simple moving average. Not bad. Again, it's on the 28th, so it's a little later than the 8 period, but you know what? It's not too bad for a 10-day moving average, honestly. And as you can see. So pretty cool. So that shows you the power of some of the, some of these whipsaw confirmation method and everything else. So that's why I state, guys, play around with this stuff. I'm just going back in 2000. Again, I'm just playing around with the settings. Let's try a 9-day exponential moving average, which Steve Nelson likes. Okay. A little more whippy, but not too bad. The exponential is a little faster than the simple moving average. But again, you could play with the whipsaws. Maybe you don't. Maybe you use a 0.2% here, whatever. Just a lot of stuff to play around with, obviously. So that's why I state, just play around with this stuff. And you can actually use this lag to your benefit. So anyway, again, that gives you a quick overview of just some of the settings there. Now, the 2 workspaces I provide on the website, let me take this, minimize this down. Kind of a hodgepodge. I throw a bunch of them on here. So there's the daily S&P again. I think I provide that with the Bollinger Bands and just some general indicators. I provide a 60-minute S&P chart. That's been pretty good lately. And I think I'm using the same exact settings, 34 length, 0.1% with the whipsaws turned on. You could see that went red on 9/20, September 20th at 17:10. So it's been pretty good so far. Again, not perfect though. I provide some examples in here where I'm showing. Here's another daily chart with, with this 8 moving average, and then another one with the stochastics or RSI turned on. So you can see the low risk areas. So all these come pre-formatted and all pre-made for you on the website and these workspaces. One of them is called BPTMA Deluxe Examples. One of them is called BPTMA Deluxe Monday, or not monthly, weekly, daily. So pretty much what you think. There's the daily chart here. There is the a weekly MA. been pretty good, catching these long-term trends. And of course, the monthly chart, which I use on the long-term system on the website, which I affectionately call the 401k paint dry system, because it is more fun to watch paint dry because the trades are so long. But you know what? Again, for your neighbors and people who don't trade, I think it's pretty good. I mean, I have a neighbor out here, and he's always bragging about his 401k, how much it's up this year, and how well his broker's doing. And I keep telling him, whenever we do go into a bull market, a bear market, your broker, your financial advisor is not going to get you out. He's going to tell you, Pat, you got to hold for the long term. You can't time the market, you know. So he's going to have them hold through these bear markets. That's what they do. So times are good now, but they're not going to have you get out. So that's what this system will do. It's not going to catch the top, but it's going to catch the major trends, and that's what it's been doing here. You could see. So here's the actual system itself. And you can see I use the, zoom into it here. I use the BPT Deluxe as part of it. I don't use that by itself, though. I've discussed this before, but since I got everyone on the phone, I'll just explain it. So, so this is a monthly S&P 500, and you can see it would have went long down here. What I've noted when I've looked at about 90 years of data on the Dow and the S&P, RSI rarely gets oversold. Maybe it gets oversold less than 10 times in 90 years on a monthly chart. So whenever it does, it's time to look for some kind of bottom. Bottoming is different than topping. The bottoming process in the market is different than topping. Why is that? It's not yin and yang. Someone who's novice to trading would think, oh, they're opposite, yin and yang. But it's not. You can see back in the 90s, RSI just stays way overbought like crazy for years. It's because the emotion's different. Greed is different than fear. Markets tend to get, the fears tend to wash out right away, get everyone blown out, and it's done, whereas topping is a process. So they're just not going to be different. If you find something that works for tops, it's going to be different for bottoms. So, I've noticed, so if the RSIs get oversold, I start looking for something to enter early. Maybe a MACD BB dot or a close back inside the Bollinger Bands, whatever. And if you hold it long enough till the BPT is green, then I'll hold for that, whatever. So for bottoms, we're looking to enter on something different, a little earlier than this indicator turning. So that was my logic with that, and it made sense. It just makes sense. So again, I've explained this before. It's a paint dry system, so it's going to be a while still before it converts. We all know the market's getting toppy, right? But it's still going to be a while before this gives us a sell signal. So again, it does much better about picking bottoms than it does tops. You can see the tops, it's usually a little bit late. That's just how it is. So, but that's that. Last thing is Ninja Trader. Let me pull up that. Some of you have had some issues with that. So here's a daily S&P 500 chart on Ninja Trader. I should take some of these indicators off. And sorry, I'm getting a text message. So anyway, I have the BPT on here twice. I have it here, and I have it overpriced. Now this indicator up here, in case you're wondering, is a divergence indicator. It detects positive divergence and negative divergence, or reverse divergence, I mean, which is what a lot of folks have trouble identifying. I really like reverse divergence because it allows you to pick, pullbacks and uptrends, rallies and downtrends, instead of trying to pick tops and bottoms like novices, like people tend to do. But anyway, but again, for Ninja Trader, the settings are the same. 834, you have the same 8 type moving averages. My programmer needs to add the moving average names in here. He's never done that. So I want him to add what number 1 through 8 are. If you recall in TradeStation, it lists the names. What number 1 is symbol, 2 is exponential. So James, if you're listening, please do that. Obviously, it's listed on the website, but I like to have it in here. The other difference is, if you're calling the TradeStation indicator, we have 2 moving averages, moving average 1 and 2 type. And NinjaTrader, we just have the number 1. Why is that? He just thought it was simpler. And in NinjaTrader, you can just easily add this indicator as many times as you want. So you can just, there's no reason to have both moving averages in the same thing. You could just, add multiple ones and have them overlaid or whatever you want to do. But the other thing I do want to mention is that sometimes when some folks I've noticed when they've downloaded the indicators it's not displaying. That's because sometimes it's coming over like this. It's coming over or transparent. All you got to do is you just got to change the colors, guys. So uptrend, if you want it green or whatever other color, you can make it. Okay. Downtrend, if you want it red or something else. So you might have to set that. You may be coming over transparent. Not sure why. Hopefully we fix that, but who knows. And the other thing is, this could be a data issue. It could also be just a calculation difference between TradeStation and NinjaTrader. So using the same 8 type, 34 length, I've noticed that on the daily S&P and some other charts, it's very close. You can see it turns on 531 here. It turns green on 1123, which is the same. But then you have a red here. You can see it turns red here for a little bit in late December. But it doesn't do that on TradeStation. Let me go back to the TradeStation one. Where is it? So it doesn't do that on TradeStation. So I don't know why. We haven't been able to fix that. We might not be able to fix it. It might just be some, it might be a data issue. It might be a calculation issue between the platforms. I don't know. So you're just going to have to contend with that if you have NinjaTrader. If you can't stand it, you'd have to get TradeStation. So until we can figure that out, there's just kind of a slight difference between the two. Not sure why. Okay. So the other thing is, and since I got James, the programmer, on the phone, this might be a good, I'm trying to find this chart. This might be a good thing to bring up to him, why I got him on the phone here, actually. So here's a gold 4-tick Renko chart. Got a lot of indicators on here, so I may just to clean this up, delete some of these off here. So I think this is take this off. Okay, so let me add the BPT MA in here, indicator. Let's turn this to false. False. All right, so here's the BPTMA on here. One thing I've noticed, and James, if you're listening, is that this Whipsaw confirmation does not work on these Renko charts. If you turn it on, I don't care if these are set to 0 or whatever, it just basically makes the indicator one color. It makes it completely useless. So remember, the Whipsaw is basically supposed to be looking for a confirming candle, and clearly you have a confirming candles here, but maybe the Renkos are messing with it. So James, if you're listening, maybe that's something you can look into. So if you're trying to use this on a Renko chart, you're not going to be able to use this function. It's going to make it useless. So I suggest using this one, this hard smoothing, where you can put a hard value in. So let's say I put 0.1 here. That means like 1 tick, basically. What's the perfect setting? I don't know. You just have to play around with it. If you have to use some, my thoughts, again, Robin and I have not had a chance to look at this. My thoughts would be that the only way to use this really would be not as an entry, because it's always going to be too late. You'd have to maybe use it as if you're already in a trade or you think the trend could last long, that maybe you would be in a runner for it. That's it. But I wouldn't enter based on this, because you're going to be later. You have to use, I think, some kind of whipsaw here method to to make it useful, because if you turn everything off, it's just going to be too fast. It's going to basically turn with every well, that one's not too bad. Let's see here. Did I turn it off? Okay. So a type, so let's say you made it a 15 length. Let's say it's just gonna change with almost every candle. Now this one it didn't change, but otherwise, it's gonna be pretty. Again, you just gotta basically, guys, just playing around with it. I have not had time to mess with it, so okay. And trying to think what else here. I'm gonna ask. I keep thinking I'm missing something that I forgot to discuss. One thing I do want to mention, because I think we may have a few people on here who do not have memberships. So, most of you do. I want to bring up one thing. If you are on a free trial here, Breakpoint Trades, one thing that you'll find about the website, it's pretty confusing. There's you first sign up, it's just your head spins, you don't know where things are. And honestly, that's our fault. We just never really made good walkthrough videos of the website, stuff like that. So, so a lot of times we have free trial members who come here and don't sign up because I think they just don't really know what they get. So on the home page, if you've seen the SPY Pro system, this now comes with membership, paid membership, of course, but it now comes with a membership. Whenever the system does a trade, I send out a trade notification email to all subscribers. So, just the system alone is worth membership. Membership is only basically $40 a month for our 6-month membership. That's dirt cheap. Breakpoint Trades has been around now since late 2002. So over 10 years, guys, 10 and a half years or whatever. So it's been a long time. We're not a fly-by-night operation. Our membership prices have been the same that whole time. I charged $40 a month way back in 2003. March 2003 is when it opened for membership. So, and so you get the SPY membership, which is 96% winning trades. You have all these other systems here, automated systems. Whenever they do trades, we send out trade notifications via email. We have the free indicators here. You can get powerful indicators like that. BPT Deluxe, stuff like that. Of course, we have the very comprehensive newsletters that come out, 6 of them a week. Steve and I kill ourselves doing these newsletters. Obviously, we have the trading community blog. So you got a lot here. And again, if you're on a free trial or you just signed up, it's going to take you a little while to get used to everything. Okay. And what's the other thing here? Let's see. So, not this one. We are going to be changing the website layout pretty soon. Something we've needed to do for a long time. So, if you look at the website layout, it looks like this. It's been this way forever. We are working on a new one. The new one looks similar to that, a little more pretty. So, anyway, how long have I been talking? 45 minutes. So I don't want to keep you guys too long here. I know I'm recording this, so you can always watch it again. It's probably going to be a pretty big file, so I probably don't want to talk too long. I could talk all day here. I mean, I would love to talk about, for example, I'd love to go over our, systems and stuff, our mechanical systems. But, I should save this for another time. So these have been pretty good, obviously. But I'd like to go over some trade examples here, why they do certain trades, why they don't. But we should probably save this for another time. And I think that's about it. Let me ask James if he has anything. Thinkorswim, we just don't have that platform. I don't know. Maybe we can get it one day, but we have so much on the table right now that we just really Don't I know? And again, the problem is if you've seen, we've had a hard enough time getting this thing to work in NinjaTrader. Um, you know, some of these whipsaw equations and stuff like that are pretty complicated. So I just, you know, it may be hard to convert it to some other platforms. And like I said, we have so much on our plate right now. You know, one thing I like to do is make, you know, just a series of walkthrough videos and everything else in the website to help new members, you know, understand what's here, stuff like that. So we just have so much other stuff in the plate to worry about. And looks like James has been answering most of the questions. And, you know, guys, I think I'll cut it. I'm going to cut it short. It's already long enough. They say don't make webinars too long, otherwise people get bored. So it's already 45 minutes. And I think that will do it. So probably do some more webinars in the future. I've had this GoToWebinar meeting account for quite a long time. I haven't been using it, not sure why. Oh, by the way, guys, I keep forgetting to mention, next Tuesday, I'm leaving town. I'm going to China. So I'll be gone for 10 days. Flying to China with my wife. We're going to Beijing. And then she has family there. She's Chinese. And so I'll be gone for 10 days. I won't be around. Steve Nelson, you'll have to put up with him. And James will be here. If the systems do any trades, James will most likely be emailing out the trade notifications for any of the SPY systems or whatever. So, you know, I'll be in China, so obviously time zone's quite different. I won't be able to look at the market that much. So, again, I won't be here. It's next Tuesday. I'll be leaving next Tuesday evening. Okay? All right, guys, that does it. I hope this helps. I hope you understand now more what this thing does. Hope it dispels the myth. It's not a magic, it's really just a moving average set with a lot of settings. But it's pretty cool. All right, guys, talk to you later. Have a good evening, and see you tomorrow. Thank you.